Hey yogis, today's tutorial is tuck jump into handstand. This is my favorite entry into handstand for a couple of reasons. Although I do often teach kicking up into an L, right? Um, there are a couple of problems with the L. One is that if flexibility is an issue, sometimes that L is actually out of, it's not accessible, right? Or if you have torn hamstrings like I do, that L very quickly becomes inaccessible. The other problem is that sometimes when students are really open, when they kick into an L, they really open up the hip and ends up, they get all wonky with their alignment. And so that ends up being a challenge not to go over in and of itself. So I love tuck jump into handstand. I think that most handstanders really learn to love this entry because it's so balanced and it's so controlled. And when you're in that tight little package, you're incredibly stable. So let's get to it. So coming into there's a couple of different ways to approach our tuck jump. And often students will want to do it from down dog. And the challenge coming into it from down dog is that that's a lot of real estate, right? To go bring your hips over your shoulders. So you got to go a long way. It can be, when you're first starting it can be a little bit more effective to bring those shoulders right over your wrists. We're gonna wrap those triceps like we do in all of our arm balances, right? Firm your shoulder joint, look straight down, tuck your knees, and then you're just hopping your hips over your shoulders, right? So you can do that little movement over and over and over. So again, pushing into those fingertips, right? Resisting the temptation. I'm gonna go over when I do this, when I when I demo this, most likely, because what I see oftentimes with students is they're so into getting their feet up that they end up in a big, let's see if I can do it more effectively. They end up in a big back bend, right? They're so into getting their feet up that they end up in a back bend, right? So, and when you come into your tuck, bring your knees into your chest, right? You want to hold that little tuck. I usually tell students, if you can say your name 5 times or the alphabet or something like that, wait. And after you do that, send your feet up. One of my favorite drills for our tuck jump is to, especially if you're newer at handstands in the middle of the room, a lot of it is in your head, right? A lot of the fear it's coming from inside the house. It's in your head. So getting out of that overthinking can be super, super helpful. And the way you do that is to just find that movement, right? So coming from down dog, I'm just gonna find a little tuck jump, feet, hands, feet, hands, feet, hands, right? Don't worry about sticking it. Don't worry about holding that handstand, sorry. It'll happen, right? But just get out of your head, because even if they're little, and resist the temptation to do butt kicks. That's not the drill. It's about getting your hips up, right? So pulling your knees into your chest, send it back. Send it back. You will not go over. I promise. You can find me if you do. You can tell me. But if you bring your knees into your chest and firm your arms, you will not go over. It's really hard to do. Really, really hard to do. So, what else can I tell you about this? Oh, keep your arms straight. It's very tempting. It's counterintuitive, because you feel like, I'm gonna go up and I'm gonna keep like this soft buoyancy in my arms, but these are long bones, right? These are just like your leg bones. You would never just stand there with your legs bent. It would be exhausting. Those long bones, they're meant to be stacked. So So when you place your hands shoulder width distance apart and you firm those triceps in, you are going to straighten your arms. Now, if you're a big hyperextender like I am, try and find straight. Shoulders over your wrists. Maybe just lining up those shoulders right over your wrists, right? Looking forward, finding your fingertips. So before you even kick it up, find those fingertips. Gaze is gonna stay steady. Hop your hips over your shoulders. That's it. Hop your hips over your shoulders, right? And then if you can come up here and you can talk, or you can say your alphabet or your name 5 times, feel free to send your feet up. Yeah? Try it. It's not as hard as you think, I promise. It's a great strength builder. If you need to do it at a wall, do it at a wall, but see if you can do it without touching the wall, right? The wall would be there just for, just as a little escape clause, but keep your knees into your chest. You won't go over. If you keep your knees into your chest, you will not go over. Strong, straight arms. Have fun. See you soon.